Are you searching for a church to call home or a ministry to get involved with? Welcome to Ministry Connections. I'm Patrick Hoban, your host and the local ministry director at AM 980 The Mission, and each week we introduce you to a local church or a ministry making an impact on the Twin Cities. No one we should feature? Just let us know at comments@salemtc.com. Now be sure to follow us on our Facebook or YouTube pages. Just look for AM 980 The Mission and you will find past and present programs there. Share them with your friends, like and subscribe, and do all that you have to do. Now today I have a friend of mine. We have a mutual connection, in actual fact his first cousin. I knew his first cousin many years ago, and of late, I've gotten to know Michael of Jesus in the City Fellowship here in the Twin Cities. Michael, it is a pleasure to get to know you and know you. Welcome to the program today.
Patrick, it is my pleasure, but you didn't mention my last name, Pilla, and my cousin was Pastor Mike Pilla.
Oh, you see, now he caught me off guard already.
Now,
this is the kind of banter that we get, us Irish people, from our Italian brethren.
Yes.
Let me tell you that. Anyway, Dr. Michael Pilla, I should say,
thank you, sir,
is a friend of mine, and he likes banter. But anyway,
it just comes natural with you because my cousin, Pastor Mike, who was he was a Hebrew specialist in Hebrew and Old Testament. You got to know first. His dad was in the Mafia in Chicago.
I know that. Yes,
yeah. See, our family's from Benevento, southern Italy, and Pastor Mike had a powerful story. He passed away in 2006, so that's
he was a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
he was a good friend of mine. But you know what? Besides the Italian connection, Mike,
go ahead.
Where are you from? Just so that our listeners
grew up
would
on
know.
the Lower East Side of St. Paul, Payne Avenue. In fact, you had Tomas on, Pastor Tomas, a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. He's got the Pain Reliever Church on Payne Avenue. That's my old neighborhood. It was all Italians. I grew up, played a lot of sports. My father was a gambler. He's got an interesting background, similar to Pastor Mike's background. And I got saved and walking with Christ in 1988.
1988.
I grew up Italian Catholic, fluent in Latin. I was an altar boy, but I did not have any concept of God's grace, not a clue. A lot of shame and religion. When I got freed up and healed, and God just did a deep work on me.
Tell us how that happened exactly, Michael. Briefly, just tell us how you came to know Christ.
Well, I thought I was a Christian, religiously speaking, in my head. But I was battling some emotional things and just the pain of where I came out of. And on August 17th, 1980, I got down on my knees late one night and said, Jesus, take away the pain. I'll make you my Lord. I said, Lord and Savior, I'll do whatever you ask. I had no clue what I was asking. Sometimes we pray for things that we don't know what we're going to get. And God held me to it. I was full-time in jewelry design. My middle name is Angelo. My company, Michelangelo Design, I've been an international jewelry designer for 46 years. But when I got called into ministry, everything changed.
Everything changed. So you got saved. You came to know the Lord. Then your journey between then and ministry, what happened there?
Well, I had about a 5 year extreme rocket ship ride of grace with my business. I won 6 international awards in design in New York and London. My work just took off all over the world. And then I got a call in the early 90s and to go into urban ministry. Now, those of you listening, listen carefully. I said no. I said no to the Lord as if I had a say in it. And he made it very difficult for me in those next couple of years. I finally surrendered in the summer of 94, downsized my company, and went into seminary.
You went into seminary. And where was the seminary?
I was at a Bible college in Roseville, and then into Bethel Seminary. Then I was at North Heights Lutheran at the time and being trained, and God called me specifically out of Isaiah 58, November 8th, in the early morning, 1995. The pages came off, the words came off the pages like skyscrapers. And that was the birth of Jesus in the City Fellowship.
Wow.
And it is a call for revival. We can talk about that at another time, but that was intense. It was intoxicating. That following year and a half out of North Hartz, we planted 10 urban churches and ministries, and I was sent into the city in 96 with a church planting team. So,
wow. So in what year now was this, Michael?
that was in the spring of 96.
96. That's
96, yeah. We're in our 29th year.
29th year in the Twin Cities itself. So you do a lot of urban ministry across.
Well, it was particular to urban ministry, specific at that time to South Minneapolis. Now, this is before the digital age. I think I was 40, 41. I mean, built a team. We didn't know what we didn't know, and we were just intense, just moving in the Spirit. Everything we touched just rolled out. You've participated in our pastor's fishing tournament. That's Fishing for Life came rolling out of us, and Tom Goodrich came out of Jesus in the City. But we did some awesome things in those early days in the early 2000s. We built a ministry called Hands Across the City, which was a byproduct of Jesus in the City, doing 25, 30 church outreach. I mean, it was just amazing. This was all on Lake Street or on the east side of St. Paul or the Midway area. And we, of course, were operating services out of a building. But we did we dialed into men in the early days. I came to the realization, the environment I grew up in, my father was in the Mafia. I'm not embellishing anything, people that know us. And my brother Dan's a tax lawyer. He was kind of my wingman, him and Tom Goodrich, as we built these differing ministries, particular outreach. I did not want to look religious. That was something that was just driven into me. I'm passionate for the things of God, and to see people discover God's grace who've never experienced it. So we really dialed into reaching into the men, particularly guys coming out of Teen Challenge or getting guys into Teen Challenge or New Hope Center, which is now Metro Hope Ministries, Union Gospel Mission, all those different types of organizations. And many of the pastors, we've planted and sowed into a lot of other I've trained up a lot of pastors.
So a lot of those ministries that came out of your outreach effort are now multiplying and reaching more people, especially Tom Goodrich, which is going to be on the program here in January.
Oh, you got him scheduled? I was
Yes,
talking
indeed.
to him on the way over here.
Yes, indeed, for Fishing for Life. And so it's all very, very interesting. Now, you've been listening to Ministry Connections on AM 980 The Mission, where we give you a better look at local ministries and churches in the Twin Cities. My guest today is Dr. Pastor Michael Pilla of Jesus in the City Fellowship. You know, Michael, you know and I know that the Twin Cities have been getting an awful lot of bad rap.
Yeah.
And I think some of it is somewhat fair, for sure, on the political side.
Well, I don't think any of it's embellished.
But, you know, you and I have been at a meeting recently downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
And we've seen an awful lot of ministries here. I know I have. God is doing something great. Tell us some of the great things that God is doing around the Twin Cities.
Okay. I'll set this out. I'm a bit of a cynical optimist. I like to get right down to the bare, what are we working with here? I think of the pastors, Tomas, for example, and there's a lot of small ministries that are reaching out and doing the work of the Lord. You know, we work with Morning Star Church up on Broadway, North Broadway. I mean, it's tough. You know, I took a lighthouse approach. That is my approach. When we're the light in the darkness, those that want out come looking for us. Mm-hmm. You know, Metro Hope Ministries, great place down on Cedar and right in the Phillips neighborhood, and you know, City Vision, Pastor Walt's church, Walt McFadden. There's a lot of lighthouses, small lighthouses, that have been laboring for 20, 25 years. And those are the ministries that we want to recognize. And people, the Twin Cities is a mission field. Patrick, in 1996, when we launched in, I remember we came out of St. Paul's Lutheran on 19th in Portland. Another good church there, evangelical. They left the ELC. Pastor Roland Wells, in fact, was we were operating under their umbrella for a couple of years. There were 35 languages in the Phillips neighborhood. We thought that was a lot. It's up to something like 280 in the metro now. See, you peel away all the political nonsense and, the wokeness and everything else. The Twin Cities is a mission field.
Yes, it is. Yes,
and I've said this. We are the training ground for missionaries. And, I don't know the statistics anymore. At one time I did, but they used to say that 70% of the world will be living in the urban areas in the 2025. Well, we're almost there. I don't have the numbers, but go around the planet.
It's interesting. Jesus said, go into all the world, but it seems as if all the world is coming to us.
The world is here.
And we have an opportunity.
I mean, you got an Irish guy here doing radio with an Italian. I mean,
we're just a small bunch out of the whole mix of what God is doing. As we're coming to a close here, Michael, people often talk about, I want to do something for Jesus, and they think something grandiose. Now, I got the opportunity in the past years to preach to a lot of people in India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Africa, all over the world. But sometimes it's in those little things, helping a local ministry, do the work of the ministry, strengthening those lighthouses that you talked about in the Twin Cities. How can people help the mission field here in the Twin Cities? How can they get in contact with you or somebody like you to do the work of the ministry?
Well, they can go to our website, jesusinthecityfellowship.org, or they can find our podcast on Jesus in the City Fellowship on the Facebook. I'm broadcasting my pastor patio on Wednesdays, Sunday mornings, and then Pastor Norton and Jerry are coming out on Fridays. We have a strong recovery theme on Fridays, particularly. People coming out of drugs and alcohol and things of that sort. We really focus on people coming out of the addictions.
And a lot of people put in roadblocks. Well, I'm not trained or I don't feel equipped. But you're going to do the equipping as well, correct? You're going to help people.
Yes. It's not an overnight thing. The initial steps are, A, seek the Lord. Is he giving you a burden for a particular people group or demographic? Because we all have a certain calling. And then it'll grow out of there. But you need to take the step and jump. Folks, you got to jump out into the water. Wade in. You don't have to jump in 20 feet deep. You just wade in slowly and go as the Spirit leads you. God will show you and direct you. There's so much need. And since, the summer of COVID and the riots, I mean, we were right there on Lake Street. A lot of the bigger churches pulled out of the city. Specifics. Everything changed. It's hard to find workers.
So if you're listening to this program today, you can get involved. I'm excited. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm a blow-in from Ireland via Chicago, and I enjoyed Chicago when I lived there, but I'm really enjoying what God is doing here in the Twin Cities. And Pastor, real quickly, what is the website again?
jesusinthecityfellowship.org.
Jesus in the
City
Fellowship.org. And you know what? Just reach out to Pastor Pilla and the folks there. And we also have Mike Dorn that is doing a great work. Mark Dorn. And he's doing a great work up there as well. So
Vertical Life. Mark's a great man.
Great church, great man. There's great ministries all around the Twin Cities.
There's another one. They need help.
They do need help.
You live up in Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center?
Get in contact with him. Anyway, you've been listening to Ministry Connections here on AM 980 The Mission. Thank you for listening. Be sure to tune in on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Until next time, God bless you.